From Hollywood, it's time now for Edmund O'Brien as...
Johnny Dollar.
Mickey McQueen, Johnny. How are you?
Mickey? I tried to phone you a couple of times, but I never reached you.
Well, I'm out a lot these days.
Well, I heard about your promotion to sergeant, Mickey. Nice going.
That isn't good. They're taking my beat away from me and putting me behind the desk. I've got to talk to a friend about it. Will you be home tonight?
Well, you really sound worried, Mickey. What's it?
Nothing yet, Johnny, but there'll be murder before it's finished. My mind's made up. I want to talk to you about it.
Sure, Mickey. I'll be here any time you want to come up.
Edmund O'Brien in a transcribed adventure of the man with the action-packed expense account, America's fabulous freelance insurance investigator.
Yours truly, Johnny Dollar. Expense account submitted by Special Investigator Johnny Dollar, to whom it may concern, Hartford Police Headquarters, Hartford, Connecticut. I don't expect you to honor this statement, but since the reports to my regular employers go in on these forms, the following is an accounting of my expenditures during my personal investigation of the Mickey McQueen matter. You may wonder how I got mixed up in it. Well, it's been my privilege to have worked a number of cases with Mickey McQueen here in Hartford, and through the years, a friendship developed between us. So when he phoned Tuesday night saying he wanted to talk to me, I was glad to ask him up. But when it got to be 1:30 in the morning and he still hadn't arrived, I wasn't so glad. He arrived at 2.
I'm sorry I'm late, Johnny.
Yeah, what held you up? I was about to drop off.
I had to think, Johnny.
Oh. You're in uniform, Mickey. What about your beat?
Yeah, my beat won't miss me. After 20 years of walking it from dark till dawn, checking its doors and passing the time of night with its people, drunk and sober.
Is it too late for a drink, Mickey? I got your brand, some Irish.
Yes, that was good of you. I've been a good policeman, Johnny. I can say that without sounding like I'm stuck on myself, can't I now?
Oh, I've never heard anybody else say anything else, Mickey.
And I've got more friends to my credit than I have arrests. I'll say that. But I've got a quiet beat.
I think there are quieter beats in town. Maybe you're lucky. Here's to it.
All right. But be careful what it is. There's murder being done and planned right this minute, Johnny, and them that could stop it don't have the heart, right or wrong.
What are you talking about?
I know what I'm talking about.
Are you feeling all right?
Feeling all right? I'm as healthy as I was yesterday, ain't I now?
I didn't see you yesterday.
Yet they're taking my job, putting me behind a desk. A degrading end for a man that's been active for 20 years.
After 20 years on your feet, you should take a rest. You've earned one.
The very words of the commission, Johnny. But, Johnny,
Yes, Mickey?
Never mind. The devil take them all. I've used up enough of your time.
Now, wait a minute. You came over to talk about something more than your new job. What's this stuff about murder being planned and being done?
I shouldn't have said it. I wish you'd forget it.
What's the matter with you? You know me well enough to tell me. You know me well enough to know I'll keep any confidence you want me to keep.
You're a good friend, Johnny. Maybe that's why I've changed my mind about telling you.
And then why did you come over?
Because I thought I was going to talk to you, but I'm not now.
All right, it's your business. But you're acting like a kid. Now, if you don't have anything to say to me, it's after 2. I have a job in the morning.
All right, Johnny. I'm sorry I bothered you. I'll say good night.
I didn't sleep very well for the rest of the night. In sort of a half doze, parts of Mickey's conversation kept coming back to me. And the more sleep I lost over it, the more I wished I had been less grumpy and more sympathetic. There wasn't a job for me the next day, and right afternoon I decided to stop by his apartment and find out his mood when he was off duty. Mickey's apartment occupied the ground floor of a narrow gray row house